Welcome back to the Bombastic StarLeague Season 21 Loser Bracket Finals, guys. I hope you had enough time to run to the bathroom. We're joined again in the casting booth by Mr. Ozzy Dahaki. We've got a ZVZ coming up in just a few moments here. What are your predictions for this series, Ozzy, between cRoSs and eOnzErG?
Well, if I go based on recent results, Eon's going to get smashed, but I'm hoping for something a little bit more competitive. And we were actually talking about it just a little bit prior to restarting here, where I actually like cRoSs, right? I think he's hilarious. But I'm kind of rooting for eOnzErG just because I want to see Eon versus Dewalt in the finals.
Yes, I agree. I think he's a better showing for Dewalt. cRoSs is very good in ZVZ though, so it's a bit of a tall order to expect Eon to win the best of 7, especially when he got taken out 3-0 in the semifinals by cRoSs. But maybe he can turn it around. Those games maybe a little bit closer than the results represent. And yeah, Eon's had a lot of ZVZ practice in recent times. He's pretty much sick of it, but I'm sure he's more capable than he gives himself credit for.
Yeah, I think so too. Eon was, and maybe I just don't know Eon very well because I really don't know him very well. He was a lot more humble than I thought he was going to be, actually.
Well, I think the humbleness comes from the fact that he's been away from the scene for quite a while. He's not been playing a lot of tournaments and stuff. He was pretty sick a few years ago. I don't know if it's like, what, 5 or 6 years ago. He was playing super out of his mind. One of the better foreigner players because of how much he was grinding at the game. And he's taken a bit of a break, not really been playing a lot, but recently, he's kind of had the itch to come back and play more. If he puts in a lot of hours again, I certainly think he can be a regular contender. Just depends on his motivations.
Yeah. Sorry, just looking through cRoSs' stuff here, he really is kind of a goofball, man. I like the message to your fans, and it's, I don't have fans.
Maybe he's got good air conditioning. He doesn't need any.
Something unusual people don't know about you. I like dogs. Like, cRoSs. It's hard not to like cRoSs.
He's got quite a lovable face as well. But we're already, guys, jumping into game number 1, cRoSs versus eOnzErG on Polestar. Spawning here in the top right, the blue Zerg from Belgium, eOnzErG.
And here in the top left, gonna get first scout is gonna be our red Canadian Zerg cRoSs.
Yeah, close spawns and already getting the first scout. Feels good, man.
Yeah, already a tough start for Eon. We'll see how it goes for him. How he handles this. It is actually, so I've only recently really started to understand, as I learn more and more about ZVZ and how the matchups, like the world order matchups work, how big of a difference it makes to have that Overlord first scout. It's more than I originally thought. I'll say that.
Well, maybe this is another reason why players should reverse scout more, is one thing I would say. I actually really like reverse scouting in ZVZ, especially if you ever want to play hatchery first. Like, if you see the Overlord, you just go 12 pool. If you don't see the Overlord, you can still throw down the 12 hatch, that kind of thing. But neither one of these players usually goes for hatch first very often, especially eOnzErG. eOnzErG is a much more hyper-aggressive orientated Zerg, so seeing the quick pull gas from him is no surprise. cRoSs can mix it up. He's not as aggressive as a player as eOnzErG, but he's super competent in this matchup.
Yeah, cRoSs actually delayed his gas for a good bit compared to eOnzErG here. Right? Did I see that right?
I think so, yeah. It was slightly slower.
Yeah. Okay. I guess not as much as I thought, but yeah, a little bit slower. Could just be the left side mining debuff, I guess.
Maybe.
But more or less mirror builds here to start.
Yeah, pretty much. This slight difference in optimization of the mining, but yeah, especially with the fact that you got to travel to your opponent, not really going to have a big difference here. And seems like both players rushing straight into lair as well. No, okay, so we have a deviation. eOnzErG's going for speed, whereas cRoSs rushing into that one base lair, and we saw how strong that was for Zeke, the games that he did one base lair right off the bat when he went 9 pool. And yeah, it can be super strong as long as you identify it. He's set up a really nice concave to engage ahead of time. This is what I was wondering if Zeke was going to do in his games and kind of meet the lings coming across the map in a conga line like that. It's a nice little early gambit you can go for.
Yeah, that was interesting because the setup from cRoSs was good, but a couple of his lings went like super deep, and the trade came out really even actually instead of getting that advantage like you would have expected.
Right.
So a little bit of a, we'll say, tough luck or mishap there from cRoSs. And yeah, he's just skipping speed entirely at this point. He's just full committing to the gas and come forward.
Oh, he's slightly messed up his wall, by the way. Like, he can't fit the Zergling on the right, which means the ling on the far right can get 2-on-1'd.
Yeah, and eOn's gonna notice that, right? Like, eOn's the kind of guy that seems to usually pounce on that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, he's gonna start challenging it. Okay. It's actually gone not so bad for cRoSs. He's traded slightly ahead, but there's more lings showing up. Oh, bit of a miss micro there from the ling of eOnzErG, not getting the proper connections, but now we'll start to slowly chip away at this wall of cRoSs. And there is a safety sunk, well, a creep that has been made from cRoSs, so he's already invested a drone and minerals into that. He's squeezing out a drone to compensate. That might open up a small window for eOnzErG to break open this link containers 2 more right, but cRoSs's trading pretty good.
cRoSs still hasn't got link speed. He's like really focused on optimizing his spending here. And he's actually gonna hold this ramp still. The sunken not even needed actually. That's kind of crazy.
I'm actually blown away by how well he's traded on that ramp. Like,
yeah,
it's nice that he's got the safety sunk, but like you say, he might not actually need it. I think this has worked out way better than eOnzErG expected it to for cRoSs. He's just not able to really do anything to him right now. He's going to get in with like 2 lings, but with the sunken there, there's not a whole lot that can be done about it. Maybe kills 1 drone. He doesn't actually kill the drone. Oh, he gets it.
Got it.
Okay, Crisis kind of averted. He's forced the sunken and killed a drone. So he's a little bit out of the woods now. It doesn't feel as bad anymore.
I love the way he poked back in to like 1-tap that ling. Like, it's those little things right in this matchup. I enjoy watching it because
playing it is stressful.
yeah, playing it seems super stressful, but when you're watching it, it's like it's the matchup where those little bits of value mean more than any other matchup.
Wait, is eOn going scourge? I think eOn's going scourge here.
Yeah, he's a big bank right now, actually. Confused about what he's spending on. Were those lings? Okay,
he's going scourge. Yeah. He's going to lose an overlord as well. This isn't super good. Like, if these scourge don't actually connect to do a lot of damage, eOn's in a lot of trouble, man.
I'm very surprised he went for scourge here. It's kind of a... It's more hoping your opponent messes up than...
Yeah, well, maybe he was hoping that he wouldn't find and kill the Overlord and that the muters would beeline to his base, and he wanted to make sure he wasn't off timing with his muter production. But I don't know, man. This doesn't feel as good because the micro of cRoSs is going to be good enough to kill at least a few of these before they connect.
Yeah, I've seen some of cRoSs's ZVZ on a stream. His muta micro can be pretty god tier sometimes.
A little bit of a creep trick there to squeeze out 1 more supply of units from eOn while he remakes that Overlord. And now there's a lot of tempo for cRoSs coming in here. Just 2 mutas for eOnzErG and predominantly Scourge. The 2 mutas do connect and find a muta kill as well, and he kills some Scourge. This is super rough for eOnzErG. He's just going to tap out. He's already super far behind. You're on a knife edge and ZVZ, and he was fighting a katana with a rusty blade at that point, so understandably just gonna tap out and reset and call it a day for another game. That was super rough for eOn, man.
Yeah, pretty much nothing went right for eOn that game, and I feel like maybe I missed something else that went wrong for him because he was floating like 400 gas at the end as well, so something definitely got a little bit kind of off kilter for eOn this game.
Yeah, well, I think he panic made Scourge because he was worried about the mutas for cRoSs being too fast at getting across to his base. If he had known they would have stopped to kill the Overlord, maybe he would have still made mutas. But either way, losing the Overlord means that he can't maintain the same level of production. So he's going to bank up a lot of gas and not be able to utilize it off one hatchery. So cRoSs just had too much of a tempo advantage that there was not really a lot Eon could do about it, especially when the Ling bust on the ramp went so poorly for him.
Yeah, I think that was also a big part of it, right? The trading for cRoSs went so well, and I don't even know that cRoSs ever made Ling speed this game either. So he like really got away with cutting some corners and some serious optimization. Yeah,
going 9 pool lair and not having to make Ling speed, you're so far ahead, both in tech timing and tempo, and gas advantage is insane. But we're ready to jump into game number 2 here on Dominator. Let's get it. Spawning in the top left, currently 1-0 down in the series, the blue Zerg, eOnzErG.
Spawning here, and the bottom spawn our red Canadian Zerg crossing. He has had Eon's number so far in this tournament.
Yeah, and definitely had his number in the semis as well, winning 3-0 in the winner bracket. Eon's gonna have to dig deep, man. I hope he can get over his distaste for this matchup right now. He's been forced to play it a lot. I hope that doesn't affect his game too much. I hope he can just focus on his micro and his build orders and try and shake off the disgust of having to play this mirror matchup so many times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. Whenever I'm hitting a bunch of the same matchup over and over again, I mean, I think a lot of us probably feel this way, probably not all of us, but it doesn't matter what the matchup is. If I hit the same one like 4, 5, 6 times in a row, I start to get sick of it. Like, it doesn't even matter if it's one that I generally like. Like, I could play TVZ like 6, 7, 8 times in a row, and I'm starting to be like, all right, can I please play something else?
I'm okay with it if I'm trying to work on something. Like if there's like a build order against Terran or something I want to practice, I'm happy. But if it's any other time where I don't want to work on something, I just want to grind out some games, it does get a bit tiresome when you get the same matchup more than 3 times in a row.
Yeah. Or if it's TVT. If I hit 2, I've already surpassed my limit.
I think we all get a little bit of matchup fatigue. I think you would have to be kind of a weirdly wired person not to be bothered by it.
There's one guy that I know that doesn't get sick of a matchup, and it's TVZ. His name is Mooney, and he does a style where he takes the corner. He'll take an early corner for his 3rd base, and then he plays 1.5 to 2 hour long games where he just goes BC Vessel Tank and waits until Zerg mines the map out, and he will do it all day and never get sick of it.
Yeah, I know Mooney. Who was it? Was it Goose that made that like video where it was like Mooney talking about his farm, and it was like footage of StarCraft while he's talking about his farm? Oh my god, that made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, he was talking about his homestead, but Goose did a little little thing with the StarCraft stuff for it. It was pretty funny. It's good.
It was like what, like an Ultralisk like walled in, and that was like one of the animals or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah, pretty identical builds here. They're going to meet yet again. Eon has the vision advantage from the high ground, but cRoSs, despite getting a good trade initially, does end up losing a Ling, but 2 of the Zerglings of Eon on red HP, so he's going to chill back at home just for a moment here.
Yeah, going to fall back and regen that HP up, right? So like you said, it's kind of like a lost trade initially, but over time it becomes a 1 trade.
Yeah, the longer the game goes on. He's got 2 Lings out on the map for maybe a run by, and actually cRoSs scouting around a little bit with those Lings, anticipating a potential run by or going for one himself. Let's see if he can find those. Actually a good overlord here from eOnzErG that could maybe spot those Lings if they do traverse northward.
Yeah, it could be a bit unlucky there for cRoSs actually that he might get spotted. And it's funny because he tugged these Lings so far away for this, and they're still going to run into the overlord, right? So a bit of tough luck there for cRoSs.
And there's a lot of Lings that have been made for eOnzErG. Is he going to try and run it down on the ramp again? There's a really nice concave setup here from cRoSs at the bottom.
I see it too.
Oh gosh. Both players getting unlucky in a row. There's 4 Lings trying to wrap around on the left hand side. They actually do avoid detection, This could do a lot of damage to eOnzErG, man. He does not know about these lings, and once he gets to the ramp, it will seem like there's enough lings that there's probably not too many out on the map as well. So he's going to feel confident just trying to run it down and break this concave, and the 4 lings are making their way to his main base as we speak.
This is pretty close though here on the ramp. It's going to be a very, very tight fight. These 4 lings are getting into the main here of eOn, but he did actually get 6 lings out of his own in the meantime. And yeah, the fight going to come out slightly in favor for eOn, but he's going to have these additional lings coming across, and these 2 drones, or these 2 lings, going to get inside, kill 1 drone, 2nd drone going to go down as well. And we have the sunken, right? So cRoSs has like no eco anymore.
Yeah, this is such an awkward position in ZVZ because you kind of have to cancel the creep now, and he still can't make mutas optimally, whereas eOn can. You need 5 on minerals, 3 on gas to make mutas non-stop of the 1 hatchery. So eOnzErG definitely ahead right now, but cRoSs's not going to let him get away with it. He's going to try and pressure the ramp with his own lings just before the mutas can pop out.
Yeah, he is going to get here and get a little bit of a fight, but eOn does have those additional 2 lings that popped out. He's going to get pushed back, though, so there's going to be a chance for cRoSs to get some counter damage. He needs 1 drone kill, and he'll actually be in a playable position again. Nice pull there from eOn, though. Wow, and good body blocking, too. 1 drone finally goes down. Oh my god, we get a 2nd. Wait, that's huge.
That's massive, man. Yeah, now cRoSs's in a pretty fantastic spot. There is a slight muta lead, though, for eOnzErG. Yeah, this is actually not going to be too bad for eOn, actually, because he's also got the tempo lead with the mutas. He might get an overlord kill. Yeah, this is rough. We got a pair of scourge to maybe even things out in the air. 3 muta, 2 scourge versus 4 muta here. That can go either way, depends on how the scourge connections go. And Ling's going to get into the main base and scout the good news that there's only 3 mining here for cRoSs. So eOnzErG probably feeling pretty okay about his spot at the moment.
Yeah, I would say the game was super even, but that Overlord going down is a huge advantage for eOn, because not only can cRoSs not make the units, he has to use a larva on that Overlord as well, which is not what you want to be doing.
And it forces him to maybe make another pair of Scourge instead of a Muta, because of the lack of mineral optimizations here. Now with good micro, this is a very winnable battle for eOnzErG. He's got 4 Scourge of his own to zone out. He's getting on top of the drones. He's already killed a drone, now 2. He can just back away and call it a day. Now, cRoSs is super pressured to do something, man. He can squeeze out Scourge with this little drones, but it doesn't feel good. He's in such a rough spot.
Yeah. He's going to try and do, I think, 1 more round of Scourge, right? And then try to go. He's going to kill his own drone to try and unsupply block himself. Like, that's how desperate he is to make something happen.
Oh my god, man. This isn't good, man. I guess it makes sense because he can still barely squeeze out Scourge with 2 drones on gas. He's got a little bit banked up. He's going to go for the tempo play and try and overwhelm in the sky. He knows he needs to be do or die right now. With good micro, maybe he can make it work. There's 1 Scourge that intercepts, connects with a Scourge instead, rather than just going down to the mutas to get a pretty even trade. There's 6 mutas here for eOnzErG versus the 5 of cRoSs, and he's going to more easily replenish more and more mutas going forward. cRoSs's on a timer to do something now.
Yeah, gonna get in here and try to make something happen. A lot of Scourge connections for both players. It's surprisingly close. Wait, did cRoSs just win this?
I don't even understand how that happened, but yes, cRoSs's somehow winning. The Matrix has just been breached, man. I don't know how eOnzErG lost that fight, but he did. What are we even watching right now? I feel like I need to go back and watch the replay, man. How did he lose that fight? I'm so blown away.
cRoSs just won a game where he had 1 drone mining minerals for the last, like, minute.
He had 2 on gas and 1 on minerals and still won. What even is happening?
Oh my god, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
I don't even know what to say about that. I'm genuinely speechless. What are we even watching, guys? There must be missed micro or something. I don't think he should have lost the fight that one-sided at all.
Well, it's like you said, I would need to look at it a bit more closely. I mean, the best I can assume is that the Scourge from cRoSs were just connecting really well, right? Like they split amongst them perfectly.
That's
or
the thing.
Like
I think at least 3 of the Scourge had a split, so that at least 3 mutas were on red HP and died really quickly. I think that's the only thing that could have happened that made the fight look like that. which is so hard to do, by the way, to get the Scourge to split like that. So either it's luck or just cRoSs's a god ZVZ gamer. I don't know, but that's crazy that eOnzErG lost that fight.
I know. I would love to see the first-person view from cRoSs on that one to see if he like actually manually split a Scourge, because, like you said, and a lot of players don't even realize this. Ideally, during a big fight, you actually want one Scourge hitting a muta because it's so much overkill if they double up on a muta. Like, yes, the 2 Scourge kill 1 muta, but it's like 100 damage lost.
Yeah, I mean, even eOnzErG saying in the chat, I'm kind of speechless with those games. I ate every Scourge, sadly. Yeah, really rough for him, man. But yeah, just so that guys really understand what we're talking about, the Scourge ability, Suicide, has 110 damage. Mutas have 100 HP. So if you split them, then the mutas are only got like, 10 ticking to 11 HP. So then they're dead to like, 2 shots from a muta or a shot and a splash from a muta glaive as well. They die super fast if you can split them like that.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. That's one of the I don't know. I've become such a fan of ZVZ, and it's because of games like this that I've seen recently. Like, it's just it's not as set in stone as I used to believe it was.
Oh no, I think eOnzErG is tilted, man. He said, luck working against me, nothing to do. That last game proves it. Oh man, he's not in a good mindset right now. I really worry for him going forward. That's not a good spot to be on.
He didn't get first scouted again last game, right?
Don't think so, no.
I think they both scouted 3 o'clock first. I wasn't paying the most attention because we were chatting.
Babbling. Yeah.
Crazy.
I think Eon's really disappointed with his performance, but I can agree. Like, he should be playing better than that. I feel like he shouldn't have lost that fight. I feel like he had that game and just threw it down the drain.
Yeah, he definitely looks a little bit off today. Like, even his losses that they had to cRoSs last time didn't quite look like this. You know what I mean? Like, he was definitely competing in those games, and he was giving cRoSs like legitimately hard games. Yes, it was a 3-0, but these are games where, especially the last game, like Eon he absolutely should have just won this last game, right? He had some micro errors, or cRoSs had some fascinating micro, either one, right?
Yeah, because even if cRoSs's splitting his Scourge, you don't just fly into the Scourge and eat it. You know what I mean? Like, you at least are more on top of your engagement initially.
Well, he had the higher muta count, right? So he should, in theory, be able to pick off a lot of these Scourge before they can hit this microing properly.
And it's okay if he eats a couple of volleys from the mutas while doing so, because he's got the superior count. It's a shame.
Yep.
Eon's actually taking a BRB right now, guys, so he's gonna go and like splash his face with some cold water or something and try and wake himself up from the dream he must be trapped within right now, because he probably is living somewhat of a nightmare after those games. I know I would be feeling the same way.
Yeah. Pretty much anybody would be, right? Especially when you get to a certain level, like you have certain expectations. Like, yeah, Eon was saying that he hasn't been taking it as serious because he, kind of achieved a lot of what he wanted to before, but of course he's a competitor, right?
Absolutely, and he hates losing. So we're jumping right into it now, guys. Game number 3 on Radiant. Let's get it started. Spawning here in the top right, representing Canada well today. 2-0 up, the Blue Zerg, cRoSs.
And his opponent here spawning in the top left. Hopefully he can regroup himself. Maybe, like you said, splash his face with some water. We have our red Zerg player, eOnzErG.
He can definitely do it, but I feel like there's a culmination of negative factors right now. He's sick of the ZVZ matchup. He's already achieved his goals of, getting deep into the BSL this season. He hates losing, which is maybe the one thing that will motivate him to playing his heart out. But I won't blame him for falling apart a little bit here. It's really tough to shake off those kinds of games when you're underperforming relative to what you should be.
Yeah, it's tough when you have a series that's going like this, like in this way, because what ends up happening is, eOnzErG, he's going to be a bit flustered, frustrated. We saw him kind of expressing that. And on the opposite end, it's going to be the other side of the spectrum, right? Where cRoSs is going to be feeling really good about himself. He's going to feel confident. He's going to play with confidence. He's going to be less and less nervous, right? So it's kind of like it kind of hurts you in 2 different ways when a series is going this way.
For sure, for sure. And he'll also develop a bit of negative bias where everything that does go wrong will feel like 10 things going wrong from this point onwards, and then that feeling bad will mean you'll make more mistakes and it just spirals out of control. And cRoSs is actually going to be winning on the build orders as well. This, I think, was an overpull from eOnzErG, whereas I believe cRoSs went for 12 pull here. Was this an overpull or a 9 pull? 9 pull, actually.
9 pull.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, it was a 9 pull. Gas again from him, and he's against a 12 pull, and 12 pull on paper a little bit more superior to the 9 pull as long as you micro well. There's still a window where you can maybe punish and overwhelm the natural expansion. cRoSs going to bring 2 or 3 drones to support his initial lings. Link speed will kick in time to maybe get some good surface area to punish the drone control of cRoSs, but if cRoSs does micro it well, it's a little bit 12 pull favorite.
Yeah, going to be slightly 12 pull favored, like you said, if he micros properly. We did see in his game against Ziki that he found kind of an angle to force a win, essentially from a position that wasn't great for eOnzErG. We'll see if maybe he can squeeze something out here again.
Yeah, and eventually, you know, cRoSs will have to make spores because he'll be slightly behind the tech curve of the game. So, you know, maybe with tempo, eOnzErG can do something still. We're about to have that micro battle now. Just one single drone here on the ramp for the time being. Let's see if he wants to pull any more. And actually, eOnzErG going to set up a bit of a concave at the bottom of the ramp ahead of schedule while more lings arrive. But this does mean he's not chipping away at that hatchery and putting cRoSs on a timer. So this seems good right now, but this doesn't end up too good once the hatchery's finished and he's producing more lings.
Yeah, a bit of a drill there from cRoSs, going to disrupt the lings, but eOn going to get a really good trade, actually. Is that enough? He actually got a really, really good trade. This hatch is going to be under fire now, and there's not enough lings for cRoSs to contest. He's going to have to pull more drones to try and save this hatchery, because if that hatchery goes down, that is basically game over, and it is getting extremely low. It's going to force the fight here, but all the lings going to go down from cRoSs. There's a lot of lings left over for eOn.
Ooh, I think he's got it. I think he's going to win this game. Kind of crazy, Ozzy. And all these drones are now exposed, so they'll at least kill 2 of those on the exit. And now we can camp this other egg and get a cancel on that. GG is scored, and finally some momentum and tempo, and a little bit of lady luck going eOnzErG's way. That's exactly what he needs to get his mentality back on track and keep a winning mindset.
Yeah, that was a cool way of doing it. I've actually never seen Zerg do that with the kind of the wall. I'm curious what he does if cRoSs doesn't pull the trigger yet, right? If he waits for his larva, because that's where it starts to get a little bit scary for eOn, is when he has access to the extra lings.
The plan was to block the ramp with 6 lings, and then all of the rallied lings after that go on the hatchery, and that puts enough of a timer that he only gets 1 larva out of it. But I think that's a mistake from cRoSs, honestly. I feel like he should have just pulled 3 drones right off the bat and come down the ramp, rather than even letting eOnzErG set up the concave.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know kind of what's the agreed upon correct way of handling that once they get the wall set up, right? The block, because not sure.
I think
not
the
really
play
sure.
is to not let them set up the block is my point.
Right.
I think you need to come right down the ramp from the start. Yeah.
But did he have time? Did the lings actually?
Yeah, no, he had time. It's because he only pulled 1 drone. He kind of then just he was going down the ramp and he pulled back up again because he only had 1 drone.
Gotcha.
All right, we're going into our game number 4 here, guys, on Litmus. Let's get it. Spawning here in the top right. It's 2-1 up in this series. The Canadian cRoSs has Red Zerg.
And his opponent here in the bottom right, finally getting a win here against cRoSs out of 6 games now, I think it was. We have our blue Zerg player, eOnzErG.
Well, this is the comeback, right? Now you just win every single game from this point onwards and kind of reset things. And he wins, 4-2 and starts patting himself on the back for almost tying up the total of 6 games or whatever it is.
Well, you know what's nice about getting a win like that for eOn is you were kind of talking about that confirmation bias for negative stuff, right? This actually kind of gets away from that now, where he was talking about, oh, everything's so unlucky, I'm just so unlucky. He gets a nice, quick, easy win, and it's you can't complain about bad luck anymore, right? It actually should help him get out of his own head some.
Yeah, now logically you can't make that argument to yourself anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So it will now be more like, okay, maybe it's not quite as bad as I thought. And hopefully he won't get inside his own head as much going forward in the series. No quick pull from both players this game. I think this is the first game we've seen where both players have opted to make an Overlord first. It's going to be a bit of an, was that an 11 pull from eOnzErG? I didn't actually see the timing of that. I think it might have been 11, whereas we got a 12 hatchery from cRoSs. This is insane, because this is like one map you probably don't want to go for 12 hatch on. And it's actually going to pay off because this is the one game that eOnzErG is not going for 9 pull, man. How crazy is that?
Yeah, it's funny because I was just about to say we've been seeing it a lot on this map, as a lot of Zergs are doing 12 pull and then in-base second hatch. And so I was about to say that. I was like, yeah, we're probably going to get 12 pull or 11 pull from both players because this is just what everybody's doing on this map. But cRoSs, I think, is fully aware of that. And he is a smart player. We've seen that many, many times now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he just kind of predicted, you're probably going to 12 pull. You keep doing 12 pull on this map. Let me go 12 hatch. You very rarely see 12 hatch in this matchup, and to get it against 12 pull is great.
Yeah. Let's see if somehow eOnzErG can fight back from behind, because this is definitely a build order win. He's got the in-base second hatchery, which is interesting, because on Litmus, this is a lot more viable with that earlier second gas. But we've seen it before, where you get mined out on gas when you take the 2 main base gas early. That could happen to eOnzErG here if this game gets dragged out.
Yeah. And cRoSs gonna get the good news, seeing these lings coming across the map here. eOnzErG gonna get the bad news here. Actually, is he gonna notice? He didn't see the pull timing, actually, so he might not be fully aware, but he doesn't see the second hatchery, so maybe he knows.
Mm-hmm. I think he's gonna figure it out now once he sees the second hatchery in the main. Yeah. Okay, maybe get a punish on these drones in the natural, at least force them to stop mining. It's a small win. It's not gonna probably kill much of anything, but denying mining, you know, slightly tips the scales back towards even. Not enough, but it's better than nothing, right?
Yeah, cRoSs had started a creep, didn't he? And then he canceled it? Or did I hallucinate that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Well, let's see how Eon wants to play this out. He's going to have, you know, slightly faster tech timings. Mm-hmm. Let's see how greedy cRoSs is going to be in this game, because sometimes you can get a little bit too greedy when you're playing 12 hatch, and if you do go to make spores, sometimes because they've got 2 hatcheries, they can just overrun you with lings, and spores do nothing against lings. So there's always that possibility of like making it seem like you're going muta, and you make like 1, 2, maybe 3 mutas, and then you just switch into pure ling behind that.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. With me thinking about it here, like, do you make a bunch of static? But if you do static, you're kind of losing your drone advantage that you would have, right, from this opening. So, but it's true. It's like you want to keep droning, but you're gonna have multiple bases to defend. Your Spire's gonna be a little bit later. Because you're droning, the opponent probably has more lings. Like, it actually is a little bit more uncomfortable than I thought it would be.
Yeah, seems like a little bit of a trade here from cRoSs. He wants to see if he can get a slightly superior positioning with his Zerglings, punishing this concave of Eon. Now taking a slightly worse trade as he gets deeper into that concave. But there's so many more lings streaming across the map, and without ling speed, cRoSs is actually going to start running rings around him a little bit and get inside this main base. There is a sunken on the way, but it's going to really disrupt the mining in the main mineral line.
Yeah, this is going well for cRoSs, I would say. We're actually targeting a larva. Oh, sorry, he's hitting the egg, yeah. So if you get enough damage on the egg when it hatches, it'll actually cancel the unit as it comes out.
Right. Yeah, he's actually getting a drone now. It's not terrible. If he can get just one more drone kill, he's going to really solidify his position. Mutas are popping out now. I'm going to chase down these lings. I don't think many of these lings will get out with their life, but even just 2 of them is pretty great. It does slow down eOnzErG a lot, because now cRoSs didn't have to make spores, importantly. Like, this whole attack is so that he doesn't have to make spores, and really sandbags eOnzErG a lot here.
Yeah, bought him the time that he needed to get his own air out right, and he also forced that sunken, which is great because he doesn't have to build any of his own static defense, and he already had a bit of a drone lead and just the better mineral smoothing. So, gonna focus down on Overlord actually is eOnzErG, and that's gonna supply block cRoSs.
Yeah, and now Eon's going to have to rely more predominantly on scourge because he's just not got that many drones mining minerals anymore. He's actually got 2 drones mining the same patch. He ideally would like to mine the second from the bottom patch. It's a pretty optimal patch to mine, but maybe he's worried about Ling run bys easily sniping that drone.
Yeah, hopefully he's not too flustered by the series so far. Gonna focus on another Overlord action and supply block cRoSs again. cRoSs. Oh, he killed a couple actually because he went 32 out of 18.
Yeah. There is a major air superiority, though, for cRoSs, despite losing that Overlord. And he does eat one Scourge, but kills the other. Now he does the same. He takes one shot, but kills the other Scourge. He has got a Muta advantage by 1. It's 6-5, and he just killed the red HP Muta as well. So now it's 6-4, 5-4. And there's a lot of Scourge, though, from eOnzErG. And because cRoSs's been supply blocked so long, maybe there's a window to punish now. Maybe he can get in there with the zoning of the Scourge coming in, and the Mutas can do a lot of work. But with only 4, it still feels a little bit sketchy here for eOnzErG, but it might still work out for him.
Yeah, this is a bunch of Scourge. Oh, it's more Mutas actually, and they didn't quite hatch in time, so one of them is going to go down immediately. Bunch of connections here too on these Mutas, but still a lot left over and a bunch of Scourge here. I mean, cRoSs was at like 800 gas because he had to build Overlords non-stop, so when he finally unsupply blocked, he just had a ton of air pop out.
Yeah, I mean, it was not a bad play there from Eon, like juking and jiving, trying to wait for the rallied Mutas to get to the front line to save the day, rather than just running away and letting them get move-shotted down to death. But still not super ideal for our blue Zerg, eOnzErG here. He's still technically behind in the air superiority, but it's not gone super terrible either. Like, he's made a few plays to sort of even things out. I do think this is winnable, but I would say he's pretty far behind. Yeah, I would agree with that. cRoSs definitely has a pretty big lead. He's just consistently going to be outlining, right? Because, again, of the slightly better mineral smoothing, and I think he has maybe a drone or 2 more, but a bunch of Scourge here going to rejoin the fight again here. And, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to land these connections on the Mutas that Eon needs. Yeah, he's trying to get on top with the Scourge, but they're so dumb. Unless you're controlling them manually, they just do not do what you want them to. And yeah, eOnzErG definitely didn't manually control his Scourge enough there. Almost all of them got taken out. Now cRoSs has the timing to come in and punish. There is a couple of pairs of Scourge popping out to try and even the odds yet again. Needs good micro, though, on the Scourge of cRoSs to take those out. He does eat one of them, but luckily kills the rest. So that will make cRoSs think twice before coming in here right away. He's going to wait for some Scourge to get closer to joining the fight. Pretty good moving shots from eOnzErG to catch up to the Mutas of cRoSs, but there's slightly more Mutas in the air for cRoSs, so he can stand and fight this and will sizably win this fight. I think that it's GG now. eOnzErG has lost complete tempo in this game and will have to GG out.
Yeah, nice build here from cRoSs. Pretty good read on what his opponent was going to be doing on this map. Yeah, so Scourge are going to come in here, going to finish off the rest of these Mutas. GG going to be called. cRoSs going to go 3-1, moving to match point here against eOnzErG.
Oof, yeah. Having to reverse sweep this 3 games in a row, not looking super doable for eOnzErG, especially after he got 3-0'd in the semifinals. I definitely think he's capable of it, but I'm sure his mindset is shot to nothing right now. He probably is not happy playing these games. He's probably sick of the ZVZ matchup, sick of the situation, and sick of cRoSs.
I'd imagine so, yeah. I mean, he did express it to us too, but yeah, he does seem a little bit off this series from what we're seeing compared to, when we were watching him play earlier, like his games against Ziki and everything. He looked really on point, even though he almost didn't want to win those games, actually. But
yeah, and he got metagamed. Like, the one game he doesn't go 9-pool is the one game he should have gone 9-pool. Like, really good forward thinking there from cRoSs to identify the perfect map to mix it up with the 12 hatch.
Yeah, really, really smart play. Kind of reading just how people have been playing Litmus so far. I think Eon has done 12 pull on this map every time so far. So I think cRoSs had kind of picked up on that and just kind of countered the build. And I think it was really smart. And Yeah, 12 pool versus 12 hatch. I don't know a lot about ZVZ, but other than like 9 pool versus 12 hatch, it's probably one of the hardest builds to play.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like 12 pool versus 12 hatch in a way feels worse than playing 12 hatch versus 9 pool. You're not dead right off the bat, but it's like a really slow death by 1,000 cuts kind of situation where unless you micro your heart out and the other guy fumbles the ball, it never feels good.
Yeah, I mean, again, this could just be my lack of knowledge about the matchup, but it just seems like you're doing the same thing, but worse, like you're behind on everything.
Well, jumping into game number 5, knockout. Spawning here in the top left. Currently 3-1 up in the series on match point. The Blue Zerg representing Canada, cRoSs.
I almost feel like I should talk super slow in contrast.
Go for it.
Spawning here in the top right corner, we have our red Zerg player, Eon. Gonna have to win 3 in a row.
It's always funny when like the countdown timer's on like 2 and I've got to somehow fit like a dozen syllables in like 2 seconds flat. Like, go.
Yeah, I just take my time anyway. We can load in a few seconds late. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, maybe I should have been an auctioneer.
It may be.
What's your predictions for this game then? Are we going to see more aggression out of eOnzErG with a quick pull, or is maybe he going to try and mix up? Oh, no, going to be that 9 pull.
Man, you know what it would have been cool, actually? If we had seen a 9-9 for one game.
Yeah? Well, I mean, 9-9's a good way of playing all-in Ling in ZVZ. Yeah, it's not a bad way to playing. It's actually really good if you feel like you're the better Zerg player and you want to get the games over and done with quickly. Like, say you're just trying to smash out games on like a fresh account and you just want to like hit a high rank as quickly as possible, and you're playing ZVZs against worse Zergs. 9-9 is actually one of the best ways to play.
This from cRoSs. Is this when do you get lair and speed at the same time when your pull finishes, when you do it this way?
You can, yeah. If you go gas first like this, you have enough to effectively do it. Doesn't mean he will, but yes, you can.
Yeah. Okay. I would imagine this is slightly better for cRoSs with what he did. But I don't know. I don't really know this matchup of build orders.
Yeah, I think that long term, this is probably better for cRoSs just because it's going to be a Ling speed first build from Eon.
Mm-hmm.
I think the longer this game goes on, the better it will get for cRoSs, but there's a window in which Eon could maybe punish the ramp, or if cRoSs gets super crazy and tries to move down his ramp.
Yeah. Okay, so we did see that lair and speed start simultaneously.
Yeah.
Well, I can only imagine that cRoSs is going to be a little bit ahead. It's essentially going to be kind of they'll have the same thing, but cRoSs is going to have it all a bit quicker. His speed, I guess, will be a little bit slower, but he's going to have that much faster lair, and his Ling count's going to be good enough that he can easily hold the ramp.
Right. You saw the timing of the Lings, where like the Lings are arriving at the top of the ramp as eOnzErG is getting there. It's like really well mapped out.
Yeah. Getting our concave set up properly is cRoSs.
Yeah, the one disadvantage to doing this build is it's very hard to get a good concave because you don't have much time to set it up.
Mm-hmm.
And actually doesn't matter. He still gets a pretty good trade against eOnzErG. Kind of surprising.
Yeah, I wonder if Eon's not entirely sure what he's playing against, because the timing of it almost looks like a 12 pool, except there's no hatchery, right? So
unless you're really dialed in to playing StarCraft, it's really hard to get a read on builds like this.
Yeah. Yeah, so they essentially have the same thing, but cRoSs is going to have one more hatchery, right? Like, it's not looking great for eOnzErG.
No, this is not good at all. Yeah, this could be a 4-1, guys. I'm going to be a non-professional caster and say this is pretty bad.
In a page out of Ozzy's book, we just throw professionalism out the window. We'll just call
Why
it as we
not?
see it.
Yeah. Even going to be a bit of a safety. Oh, he's just doing it to squeeze out a bit of supply. I don't know, what was that? He didn't actually get the extra supply out of it. Maybe he was thinking about needing it and then didn't because the overlord was finishing up anyway. Like, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. That's just yeah, I don't know, just throw a little bit of money. Throw a little bit of change out the window, you know, why not?
Yeah. It's a capitalist world for cRoSs right now. He's got extra money to burn.
Yeah, so Spire's going to finish about the same time, but like I said, it is such a massive difference that cRoSs is going to have this extra larva access. He can be much more picky and choosy about what he's building out of his larva.
Yeah. Now, there's two schools of thought. You can either make as many muters as you can, like 3 or 4, and then you make the rest scourge to go for a tempo play, or you can just make a pure muter and, you know, try and take complete superiority. He's doing the tempo play where you're making as many muters as possible, then squeezing out the rest of gas into scourge.
Yeah, it's going to be 5 muta for cRoSs, and then I guess the rest will be scourge. And he's going to have... One of the things, too, is even if they're even on the air, one of the things that cRoSs is going to have, which can make a big difference when you're in these even games like this, is he's going to have access to more lings, right? He's going to have that ling pressure. And I think he doesn't realize that cRoSs had the same Spire timing, so he's out on the map, and he's going to get caught out here with these mutas. Yeah, he did not identify what the build was, and I can't really blame him for that.
No, it's super hard to figure it out. You'd have to play like 1,000 games of ZVZ in a row to start to like dial in enough to identify that kind of stuff. Oh man, this is rough for eOnzErG. I kind of feel bad for him, genuinely. Like, this is super rough way of being taken out. He's fighting back strong in the air, but I'm not sure if it's gonna matter. I think there's just too much here for cRoSs. He's gonna have to tap out. I was going to say congratulations. cRoSs played pretty amazing, and he will be going through to the grand finals to face off against Dewalt for a bit of a rematch.
All right, GG. And Eon probably, I'd imagine after that game, calling himself unlucky for not getting the scout, right? So he just didn't identify what the build was. And yeah, that was tough. I mean, smart from cRoSs, right? Two times in a row, he just properly kind of counter-built what Eon was going for. And like I said, because Eon doesn't get the scout, I mean, it's hard even if he does scout, right, to play against it, because you're just, like I said, you're doing the same thing, but you're just behind in pretty much every metric.
Well, if he was an aggressive player, he'd be better off reverse scouting, but because he likes to go for early pulls, you don't really want to go for reverse scouting. It's better to scout more orthodox to identify the quick hatchery. But yeah, if he wasn't such an aggressive player, maybe reverse scouting would save him from a lot of these situations. But it is what it is. 4-1 to cRoSs, pretty convincing win. But at least eOnzErG got a win on the board and fought back a little bit in this series. And we do get to see that rematch between cRoSs and Dewalt. You really do have to favor Dewalt going forward, but maybe cRoSs, after already playing a series against him, can come up with some good ideas.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to be honest, cRoSs made some mistakes that I think are a bit uncharacteristic, right? Like, you can tell when he's playing against Eon or somebody else, like, how much more confidently he's playing and how he makes way less mistakes and it just looks cleaner in general. I think that's part of what makes Dewalt so good, is he does also kind of have that aura and that reputation here in the foreign scene that people just don't play 100% against him.
Yeah, you see that in the Korean scene a lot, right? Like, even though Flash isn't playing like a god right now, there's like this aura that they have because of their reputation. So when people play against them, they kind of shake in their boots a little bit, right? And that's so true in StarCraft. If you're known to being a guy that's hard to beat, it's almost like your win percentage evaporates. And you had that tournament, right, where everyone didn't actually know who their opponents were, and they played super good and beat people they don't usually beat as a result.
Yeah, there was actually a lot of that, which was what made it fun, right? And also in the anonymous tournament, every Terran lost, so it really doesn't matter if anybody knows who you are or not. You're just not going to win as Terran. So.
Yeah, well, congratulations to cRoSs, man. I'm super stoked for him getting through to the finals. He's definitely a very competent individual. He's not that strong in ZVP relative to his other matchups, but I think he could surprise us. I don't necessarily think he's beating Dewalt out of a best of 9. I feel like Dewalt is probably winning that, like, like 5-3 at the worst. I don't think that Dewalt's going to concede more than 3 games in that series, but I would like to see it if it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And cRoSs showed us in this series against Dewalt, like I feel like every game except for the last one, cRoSs had moments where it was actually going completely fine for him, right? So
Yeah.
he's shown us that he can have good early games against Dewalt and he can get into good positions. He just has to continue that high level execution pretty much from beginning to end against someone like Dewalt.
Yeah, it's the mid game that he's struggling so much in, which is, the big power spike for Protoss. The pro gamers make it look easy, but it's anything but. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried for cRoSs because he does have to smooth out a lot of the creases in his play against Dewalt. But if he can somehow, get a little bit better at handling the battle Zerg mode in the mid game and not bleeding so many units and maybe creating some chaos so he can form a ladder out of it to start climbing. We saw how great it was that he dismantled Dewalt as soon as just a little bit of chaos was added to the mix. He did super great. Maybe he can think up some new ways of pulling Dewalt out of his comfort zone here. But yeah, I'm super excited to see what happens in that grand finals.
Maybe we can ask him right now because he is here in the call with us, ready to do an interview. And Jean is our interview expert here, so
Hello.
hello, cRoSs. How are you feeling after that performance?
Definitely good. I made to the grand final, so something that definitely, whether I win my first series or second series, that's where I wanted to be. So definitely very happy about it.
It's definitely a good result, man. And you get in a rematch against Dewalt, and it's going to be a slightly longer series, a best of 9. We saw in that game, the games today, the game you did really well on was where, you caught a lot of the cRoSs and you suddenly created a lot of chaos, especially abusing the Sim City of Dewalt, where he couldn't even get his Archons and Dragoons around his base, and he was really frustrated about it. Do you feel like you have opportunities to refine your game, especially in the mid game, to survive the stages necessary to kind of get away from Dewalt's really solid, super strong 2-base timings?
Yes. The first game I remember, it was very well played by Dewalt, so nothing to comment about it. But second game, third game, and even fourth game in the denominator, I made a couple of mistakes there. And I know my strengths is in early mid game, and definitely did well against Dewalt today as well. But after the mid game, his macro and micro kicked in, and that's where I struggled. So that's something that I should work on until next week.
Yeah, well, do you feel like you've got enough information from the series you played against him today that you'll know exactly what things to work on? Like, obviously, you're not going to tell me too much because you don't want Dewalt to hear what your plans are. But do you have something in mind of like what you're going to work on specifically to maybe overcome that deficit? Because I imagine it's quite fearsome playing against someone of Dewalt's caliber.
When I play the tournament, I feel that it's important to know my skill objectively, and definitely we all know, and I know clearly that the Dewalt is much better player than myself, maybe two step ahead of me. While I was preparing for the series today, I also had to consider the grand final as well, and I didn't want to show too much, and also it was a
Okay.
Christmas season as well. So I didn't really have time to practice for the series against Dewalt. So today I mostly focused on just playing macro and see how it goes. And hopefully next week I feel that I have more time to practice for the series. So hopefully the results are better than this week.
Yeah, well, you've definitely got a long time to prepare, man. A whole week. I hope you can squeeze in a lot of practice games in the meanwhile. Talk to me a little bit about who you are. So, like, what is it about StarCraft that fascinates you and motivates you to like keep coming back and playing?
I would say it's a tournament. I definitely love the game. However, keeping in form takes a lot of time and effort. For me personally, if I just don't play game for just 2, 3 days, I feel that I'm rusty.
Yeah.
However, when there is a tournament, thanks to Zero and all the tournament organizers, those tournaments really motivate me to come back and actually start playing. So I haven't played quite a bit for a while, and then a month ago when BSL started, I started playing again. So That's definitely the motivation, and that's I have a high expectation in myself as well. So that's
Yeah.
kind of motivates me to practice before the tournament.
What kind of chances do you think you've got of taking down Dewalt in a best of 9? Like, I'm sure it's not like going to be 100%. So, like, roughly, where are you placing your chances? Like, what's your mindset going forward? Do you think you've got enough aces up your sleeve with good practice that you can surprise everyone and actually get a title?
I would say the possibility to beating Dewalt is quite low, and it's same for everyone, except for Bonith when his PvP is very good against Dewalt. I would say 20 to 30%, or even less than that.
Okay.
But I'm here not to lose to Dewalt. I want to win, so I'll see what happens next week.
Ozzy, do you have any questions?
Not really any questions. I just wanted to mention this game against eOnzErG on Dominator, where you killed your own lings to get extra scourge, and then you even killed your own drone, knocking yourself down to 3
I'm not sure
drone.
if he's talking, but I can't hear anything.
Oh, you can't hear Ozzy right now? I can hear him.
I can't hear him.
He's basically he's talking about the game on Dominator where you were killing your own lings and even your own drones to squeeze out a little bit of tempo with some Scourge. I'm not sure what his follow up to that was going to be. What else about that, Ozzy?
I just wanted to point out like how amazing this thought was. Like I
Yeah,
never see anybody do something like that.
basically, at the time I was behind. eOnzErG killed my drones, and I didn't give him much damage, and I saw the 3 mutas pop out. So I know that I only have one timing, and it's one hatch against one hatch, and we are mining from one gas. So still the gas count wise is the same. So I just wanted to hit before the third overload comes out and gets more scourges and mutas, which he had the eco. So kill my drone. That was kind of all in, but I numbered the every single scourge, and it hit the mutas individually as well. So I would say there's a luck point as well. I was lucky.
So were you trying to split the Scourge manually, or did you just kind of have them like pre-spread and try and manually get the A move connection on them? Like, how did you split the Scourge against the Muta? Was that like a little bit of luck, or did you kind of set that up manually, or what was your process?
At that game particularly, I numbered my every single scourge, the 2, 3, 4 scourges.
Oh, okay,
Each of
yeah.
them, I manually clicked the muta, and eOnzErG didn't micro. I guess he thought that he has way more mutas than myself. And then I knew that his scourges were coming, so I dove into the mutas, and then micro after. So it worked out really well.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, your ZVZ looks scary good. Like, I think that ZVP is probably your worst matchup. And so I do fear for you a little bit going up against Dewalt, but I also know you're a super smart guy, and I'm sure you can come up with something to get the better end of the stick against him some way, somehow. You might be right about like the 30% win chance, but who knows? Maybe Dewalt has a bad day. You certainly played pretty amazing today, despite losing to Dewalt. I hope that's given you a lot of insights going forward to the finals. You've got some replays to study. Dewalt, he's quite a linear guy. He doesn't have a wide variety to his play. Maybe you can figure out some kind of timings to disrupt him, knowing that he kind of plays the same way every time. Do you have any thoughts about
Um, just so you know that my best MU is ZVP, by far.
that? Really?
And yeah, my ZVP is way better than other MUs
Okay,
for
well,
sure.
that's good
So
news then, because maybe you'll have some better chances than I thought.
still Dewalt is a very good player. So definitely will study him, and I know that it's not about study as well. I'll focus on what I can do the best, and I'll focus on minimizing my mistake. That's what Dewalt is really good at. He hits from different points and makes me make mistake.
Yeah.
So those are the things that the group Protosses do. So I know that I can do better than what I did today. So I'll see what happens next week.
Yeah, he definitely does what the Koreans do best and forces interactions, right? And really like stress tests the other player and stretches them to the absolute limit. Do you think there's anything you can adjust in your style to kind of force that out of Dewalt? Like maybe going a bit more aggressive with muta timings, or maybe throwing an eOnzErG in there occasionally. Do you have any plans on like creating the game more chaotic on Dewalt's side of things, or are you going to just stick to your guns and try and do better?
Uh, uh, I would say that if I try something that I don't normally do, that's not good from my expect. Because I've been playing BSL for a while. Every time I didn't make it far was when I tried to do something different. I know that I'm capable of beating Dewalt if I play perfectly, but that playing perfectly is difficult. So I'll probably focus on what I can do the best. Not gonna consider what Dewalt will do, and I know that I can play better. So I don't think I'll adjust any of my playstyle. I think my playstyle is aggressive enough right now already. If I become more aggressive, that's basically going to be a gambling or all in. So I'll definitely want to
Right.
mix it up. But for now, I would just focus on what I can do the best.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Well, thanks for the interview. Is there anything before you leave you'd like to say to your fans? I know in your description you say you have no fans, but while you might have good air conditioning, I can assure you there's a few people out there who really do like watching you play. What have you got to say to them?
Really appreciate your support. Thank you, thank you. And definitely the fans are, I don't have many fans, but if I have fans, definitely fans are my motivation. So
Ozzy's a fan. I'm a
I'm a,
fan
I'm a,
now too, Crossy.
I'm a cRoSs fan. Yeah.
thank you, and soon. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, buddy. Well, I wish you lots of luck in the finals against Dewalt. I'm sure you might surprise yourself if you keep a winning attitude. Thanks so much for the interview, and really big congratulations on being a finalist, man. Getting a silver medal at the very least is definitely a big achievement, and I hope you can go all the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Congratulations. Good luck. All right.
Thank you, Zero.
Okay.
Well, we've heard from the man himself, Crossy. He's looking forward to hopefully playing some more good games of StarCraft for you. That will be next Sunday, the 4th of January. If I'm not mistaken, we'll be having that grand finals. A nice big rematch. Going to be a best of 9 that time around. So no matter what happens, we're going to be seeing a lot of games out of these guys. And he's got a lot of information now. He can go back to the lab and study exactly what happened in those games, as well as just getting more practice time. Like you said, he's probably pretty rusty considering what he could be. So maybe Crossy will be able to play a lot of the better series next time around. What do you think, Ozzy?
Yeah, it's actually reassuring hearing what he had to say about how this is him apparently playing rusty, right? And not in shape and not practice, right? So if this is how well he was doing against Dewalt and he feels like he's not playing anywhere near his best at the moment, or maybe not anywhere near, but not at his best, then yeah, maybe with a week of kind of refining some stuff, a little bit of studying, a little bit of kind of tweaks here and there, he actually might give us a really good series, and I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be a really good finals. Obviously, DeWalt's the clear favorite, but I think Crossy is going to give him a run for his money. I don't think it's going to be a clean sweep. He even took one game off of him today. And if he's rusty and he's able to take a game off DeWalt, that's a good sign. So, yeah, well, we're going to talk a little bit now about the sponsors and the contributors to the Patreon. You guys at home that are keeping the lights on, you mean so much to us. We got these one-time donators like CRVT throwing us 2,000, jziriy with 1,400, Striker with 600, and many more doing these big one-time donations, which we're so appreciative of here at the Bombastic StarLeague. And we've also got these monthly contributors, the Patreon guys. We're going to talk a little bit about them now. The Wolf of Wall Street at $200 a month. Andrew, Bombastic General, $100 a month for My Fleeting Dream. Bombastic Colonel, $50 a month. Striker. Bombastic Major Plus Plus at $30 a month. Tupocalypse and Torsu Driver. Bombastic Major at $20 a month. Last but not least, Chaosu, KJ, LML, Medino, Nicholas Schuler, Scheming Gypsy, and Steven Robertson. Thank you so much to you guys and your continued support here to the BSL. Zero does a great job, man. He doesn't sleep much at all. He puts a lot of energy into bringing you these great games of StarCraft and keeping the foreigner scene alive. It's a very tight-knit community, so if you can give just a little, it will mean the world to us, and we're happy to come and help him cast out a few of these games to keep the thriving scene of StarCraft alive. Who knows? This game could be around for the long haul. We might still be playing this into our 70s.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. I'm hoping that's what we do. I'm totally down. Like, if I can make slightly below minimum wage for the rest of my life playing StarCraft, then I can die poor and happy. I don't care.
That's the dream, man. Doing what you love rather than just chasing the money, right? I mean, I think that's the
Yeah.
way forward, man. I think if more people did what they love, it'd be a happier world. But thank you so much, guys, for supporting us and tuning into the stream. We'll be joining you again on next Sunday, the 4th of January, to bring you that grand finals. Come check it out. Don't miss it. It's going to be super sick between Dewalt and cRoSs. I've been John. With me, Arzi Dahaki. Any final words?
Nope, that's going to do it for us here, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hope you guys have a good night, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Thanks so
Peace.
much. Happy New Year, guys.